And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. And like I say every time, I need your help. So help me, help all of us, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever it is that you need to do to help to grow this community, because the chaos, like I say every day, it doesn't stop. And we know who loves chaos: Trump. Trump loves chaos. And the last 9 months have literally felt like a constant chaos. Yesterday, Kash Patel testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee. And while Trump is sitting back and laughing, I want to show you a few clips today, because what I've done here is I'm trying to explain that this week, I think Kash Patel is yet again doing a horrific job with the FBI. From literally posting that they got the wrong subjects to his flip-flopping on the Epstein file. He, in fact, is not just embarrassing the FBI, he is embarrassing himself. Well, yesterday, Senator Cory Booker told Patel what he thinks that we're all thinking, that he may not be around for much longer. Play the clip.
But here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you, because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I follow you on your social media posts that tear this country apart.
To address your falsehoods.
Okay, let me be very clear about something. As I wrote in my Substack, and I ask each and every one of you to do me a favor and to make sure you read it, I entitle it "Senate Spectacle Powers Trump's Throne." What do I mean by that? I know President Trump better than anyone should ever know another human being. I have seen him at his lowest, at his most dangerous, and what people fail to understand, at his happiest. And I want to be crystal clear here. Trump is loving this moment. And while Democrats like Cory Booker and others congratulate themselves on their, made-for-TV cosplay in the Senate hearing, peppering Kash Patel with these faux tough questions and this anger, Trump is doing what he does best. He's sitting back, he's laughing, and he is feeding off the chaos like it's his personal oxygen supply. You think you scored points against him? Wrong. You gave him content. You gave him distraction. You gave him the fight. And you know what? He loves to fight. This, my friends, this is the Trump playbook that I lived through. Create chaos, weaponize the chaos, then pounce when your opponents are still patting themselves on the back for their performance. Now, they also thought they had another nail in Patel's coffin. They think it was based upon his response to Senator Klobuchar's question about an assault weapons ban. Play that clip.
So my first question is on the assault weapon ban. Do you think that would be helpful in reducing gun deaths, Director?
Senator, I think there are instances on this legislation that could prevent future attacks, but I'm not going to weigh into the creation of legislation.
Yeah, of course not. Let me be very clear for a second. These sort of I think I got you type questions, they're not working. They're not working, and I'll explain to you more. But before I do, let me show you what Ellie Honig, who was on CNN talking about how FBI agents are literally horrified by Kash Patel's job. Let me show you what Ellie had to say. Play the clip.
There are some clear pitfalls in that.
The job of the United States Attorney General and the director of the FBI is stability, leadership, conservative, and I mean lowercase c, conservative, be careful, protect your people. And neither of them is doing that right now, Pam Bondi nor Kash Patel. I mean, for Kash Patel to tweet, "We've got the guy," and then have to retract it is humiliating. It undermines his own credibility and the credibility of the entire Bureau. I know more FBI agents than I can count, many of whom are Trump supporters who are horrified by the job he is doing. He is unqualified. Both of them are much more concerned with getting a viral tweet or a clip than with providing steady, sound, stable leadership for DOJ and FBI.
He's right. He's right. The whole display yesterday was embarrassing, not just for Patel, who looked like he was auditioning for the worst, I mean, literally the world's worst episode of Law and Order, but for the senators who mistook indignation for strategy. This bullshit manufactured outrage, it's not going to topple Trump. All it does is it fortifies his narrative. Look at the mean Democrats picking on my people. And guess what? His base eats this stuff up. Meanwhile, here's the real danger that comes here. Cory Booker, as an example, thinks that raising his voice at Patel makes him look like a fighter. No, Patel is playing to a party of one. You see, to Trump, it makes Booker look weak. Another low-energy pretender desperate for relevance. Another Trump administration official who I think is also doing a terrible job is Todd Blanche. Blanche goes on CNN last night talking to Caitlin Collins about his interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, literally saying that his interview with her was not a pressure test, but rather it was an opportunity to speak to her. Now, let me be clear. She had had every opportunity to speak for years, clearly choosing not to. Play the clip.
But when you met with her, did you find her to be credible?
It's an impossible question to answer. I met with her for 2 days. To determine whether a witness is credible takes weeks and weeks and weeks. I asked her questions that I believe all of us wanted answered, and she answered them. She answered them. The point of the interview was not for me to pressure test every single answer she gave. Of course not. The point of the interview was to give her an opportunity to speak, which nobody had done before. And so she had been in prison for many, many years, and she had offered to speak on many, many occasions. And she was never given that opportunity. And so what I did is I gave her that opportunity to speak. It was recorded. My questions were there. And whether her answers were credible or truthful, there's a lot of information out there about Mr. Epstein, about her, and whether what she said is completely wrong or completely right or a little of both. That's the reason why we released the transcript. That's why we were transparent about the questions I asked and the answers she gave, is because it's really up to the American people to determine whether they believe that her answers were credible or whether they found her not credible.
Yeah, it's actually really up to you to provide us with normal questions so that we can make that determination after, of course, Department of Justice does, considering we don't have power to do anything with our opinions. But Blanche also goes on and he rambles about how he wants to charge protesters at Joe's Seafood last week with RICO charges for their behavior, for their protest. Wow. Play the clip.
As you know, RICO has been used to go after like Al-Qaeda, MS-13, the Gambino family. How would something like that protest fall under a RICO charge?
That's not what we use RICO for only. RICO is available to all kinds of organizations committing crimes and committing wrongful acts, not just organized crime or ISIS or terrorist organizations. And so it depends. So is it, again, sheer happenstance that individuals show up at a restaurant where the president is trying to enjoy dinner in Washington, D.C., and accost him with vile words and vile anger, and meanwhile he's simply trying to have dinner? Does it mean it's just completely random that they showed up? Maybe. Maybe, but to the extent that it's part of an organized effort to inflict harm and terror and damage to the United States, there's potential investigations there. And that's what the president was saying yesterday in the Oval Office, and what he also has said in the days before that as well.
But were those women in the restaurant inflicting harm or terror or damage by protesting the president of the United States? I mean, they were just shouting basically in his vicinity.
I mean, repeat what you just said. I mean, honestly, so you're asking whether there's damage done by 4 individuals screaming and yelling at the president of our United States while he's trying to have dinner. That can't be a serious question. That cannot be a serious question.
Okay, it is the serious question. And seriously, Todd, you can look into the camera like a lost deer in headlights. It's not going to help you. It is, first of all, RICO was designed for organized crime. Racketeer Influence Corruption Organization. You as the number 2 guy there at the DOJ. There's so many better ways to respond to a question that Caitlin Collins and others are asking you, other than trying to play the victim. Nobody is going to buy what you're saying, that these 4 women caused Trump to be in apprehension and fear. Sure, while you have Secret Service surrounding the place. Stop it. And if you want to know how to answer it and how to respond so you don't look like a total fool, pick up the phone, give me a call. Now, in other news, MAGA Mike Johnson, God bless this guy's soul, told reporters that leaders cannot call their opponents enemies of the state. Midas? Thank God for Midas Touch. They put together a compilation showing Trump doing just that. Play the clip.
Leaders cannot call their political opponents Nazis and fascists and enemies of the state because they disagree with their policy priorities. I mean, this is something we should have learned in grade school.
We have the enemy outside, which would be the very standard countries, and we have the enemy from within. We have some very sick people from within. It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists. But, you know, we do have an enemy from within. We have some very bad people, and those people are also very dangerous. They would like to take down our country. They'd like to have our country be a nice communist country or a fascist in any way they can. And we have to be careful of that. It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia. But the enemy from within is a very sick group of people.
This type of language spurs on depraved people, deranged people who take that as a cue.
Yeah. Like I said, thank God for Midas Touch. The last clips that I want to show you is of Caitlin Collins speaking with Ted Cruz. Cruz tries to claim that there were transgender references on Tyler Robinson's bullet casings. Listen to this. Play the clip.
Yeah, as Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, just said, right now they don't have any evidence of an organization. Obviously, they're still looking into this. But on the bullet casings, I don't remember there being a transgender one on there. I remember him saying there was one that said, if you can read this, you're gay. It was referencing internet memes. But on what you just said there about investigating,
there is. Hold on a second, Caitlin. There is a transgender
if there is funding.
One. Hold on, Caitlin. Caitlin, there is a transgender.
Go ahead.
There's a reference to. Do you see my bulge, which is, I'm told, is an online meme for transgenderism? And Director Patel testified that the murderer here was living with his romantic partner, who was a transgender man transitioning to being a woman. And
yeah. Lastly, the schmuck tries to tell Collins that Vance Bolter, the man who assassinated Melissa Hortman and her husband, was not acting on political motive. Oh, no. He had a hit list with many Democratic targets. Play that clip.
When funding acts of violence, we should go
Senator,
after, but this is a left-wing problem.
How can you argue that it's, I think the argument that people have been talking about recently is what's going on with the Charlie Kirk case. I think people have raised that because there have been other acts of political violence as well when it comes to targeting Democrats. I mean, we've seen that with a lawmaker who was killed in Minnesota this summer alongside her husband. We've seen it with the break-in at Nancy Pelosi.
But the assassin
We've also
there
seen
was
it with Justice Brett Kavanaugh
the
and
assassin
others.
Hold on a second. If you're going to say facts, you need to get your facts right. The assassin there was not a right-wing assassin acting on a political motive. The assassin there was someone who had been an appointee of Tim Walz, and he was a deranged lunatic. And yes.
Yeah. The deranged lunatic is the one that was just there on CNN. Listen, it's why I constantly say to you, all I'm trying to do is to grow the community, to ensure that people like Ted Cruz, people like MAGA Mike Johnson, never hold the levers of power that are right now aimed at destroying our democratic republic. If you're with me, again, hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share, because without you, I'm just one vote. I'm just one voice. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.